What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Kathryn Yancey here with KDY live on Disco Radio, Disco 100 in the house. Make sure y'all tune in and subscribe. As soon as I get my earphones on, then I will be talking. There we go. There we go. So this nice gentleman next to me is Mr. James Kirkland. What's up, James? How you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I do great all the time. So to anybody tuning in, say what? Say what?
You said I see you just bragging, aren't you?
Yeah, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Can't go wrong with that. Fight with that. Fight with that.
I roll with that one.
Okay, roll with it.
I'm good.
All right. So, to everybody tuning in, thank you for tuning in. It is my pleasure to be in front of you. Always my privilege to be in front of you and have the support of so many. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can never say that enough. Anytime I do something, people just show up and they support. So, today on the inaugural show on KDY Live at Disco 100 Radio. Make sure y'all subscribe. If you don't do nothing else, subscribe. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. And we will keep bringing you programming. Subscribe, Disco 100 Radio. And I'll let you know what is subscribe for me later on. But right now we focus on Disco 100 Radio. So we're talking about getting and staying married. I myself have never been married. And I'm not in a rush. So, in order to make some preparations to get married, I thought it would be good to talk to some people who have actually been married before. Tried it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think the statistics say that we're looking at 50% not working, 50% working, somewhere around that. Oh yeah, it's been that hot for decades.
I thought it was lower than that. Is what I'm saying, less than 50%.
Oh, working.
If you start working in the, I think if you start looking into different cultures, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think that number might be lower. But I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, we ain't gonna quote you.
Don't.
So, but look it up. Everybody got Google. Look it up. Let me know. Call in and let me know.
Yeah.
The number to call in is on the screen, 678-638-6626. We would love to speak to you today. And so, the premise of getting and staying married is that I believe that people get married and then they're in for the shock of their life. They're just not prepared. They just don't know what to expect. And then when they get what they get, they like, I've been bamboozled. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if that's the case for all, but I'm sure that's the case for some. There are always exceptions. Shout out to those who have had it work out in their marriages. And we want to hear from you today as well. As a matter of fact, the couple who has been together the longest, and you can just, chime in. I think Disco, you watching on YouTube, family, so you can see comments. All right, Disco, let us know in the comments. We want to see like your marriage certificate or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because some of us scammers out here, we about to get that.
You got to still be married.
Like we got the PPP. You say what?
You just got to still be married. Can I count equity? How about the years?
No, ain't no equity. Oh, so let's talk about it though. Let's talk about it since you brought it up. You were married, meaning past tense.
Past tense.
How old were you when you got married?
26. No, how old was I? 26.
26.
Uh-huh.
All right. And what made you want to get married at 26?
There were a plethora of different reasons. Number one, of course, I thought I loved
Talking
her.
to Mike, so.
Number one, I thought I loved her, of course.
You thought you did?
Well, I did.
Oh, okay, let's be clear.
Well, I mean, what's
understood.
I'm sorry, forgive me. What's understood sometimes I think ought not have to be explained. But I loved her.
Okay.
I did.
Make it clear. I don't understand. I don't read
At the time, I was a young minister.
Okay.
So as a young minister and having been in the ministry for 5 years, I thought I needed to be married.
Okay.
She fit the bill of what I thought a pastor's wife would look like.
Oh, what's that bill? That's interesting.
I mean, she was virtuous. You know what I'm saying? She carried herself, she carried herself like a lady.
Okay.
Really carried herself like a lady. Was raised in the church. Was meek.
Lady in the street freaking back?
No, none of that, man. That's our business. I'm not gonna go. I still respect it. We don't look. Let me put this. Let me quote this.
A lot of people are getting divorced.
We don't have a hostile relationship.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so we're in a good position. We're in a good place.
I joke a lot, but that was for real. But a lot of people
but that wasn't it though. But you know what? That could have been something. You know, could have been something in there that was because a lot of times there are layers to things. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But you asked me why I got married.
Yeah. She's a virtuous woman.
Yeah, got all those things. Man, smart, intelligent.
Pastor at the time.
I was a pastor, you know, all those things. So all those things, so she fit the bill in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, and then so we got married. We got married.
How long did you all know each other? How did you meet?
We met at the time. I'm 3 years older than she is.
Okay.
So after she had graduated from high school, we would see each other at church. We would see each other in the mall. I flirted with her a couple of times.
You was stalking a little bit? You saw her church and the mall?
Actually, I didn't stalk, but we ran into each other at those places.
All right, just checking.
And I remember I gave her my phone number one time.
Make sure ain't no red flags on your part.
No, I'm good. I'm good. You can go to the post office and my name is not on the wall.
Gotcha.
But real talk, I gave her my phone number.
Okay.
She didn't call.
Okay.
Then she went off to school, came back, saw her again at church, gave her my phone number. She didn't call again. I'm like, I'm done. Cool. Okay. But then she called me at the church because she had lost my number apparently. And so we started kicking it after that. So we knew each other for 2 or 3 years before we got married.
Yeah, believe us when we say we lost the number?
I ain't care, baby. I
know that. You're like, do what you want.
Hey, if it works, it works. You know, let me tell you something. What the old proverb said, if you put your cast your bread up on the water, if you watch it, it'll return. So that's kind of where I was. Yeah.
Okay.
So I put it out there and she didn't respond initially. So what was
you got plant seeds.
Yeah. And then after that, she did. When she came back for the summer, she did. And we hung out all summer long.
Okay.
And then when she went back to school, which was, we were in Arkansas at the time, and she went back to school here at Spelman, then I moved down here.
That's so smart, young lady.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's smart, man. Don't deal with dummies.
That's right. That's right.
But at all.
At all.
I have
you got an emphasis on that? No dummies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Air quotes and all that kind of stuff.
Air quotes.
Yeah.
Got it. No dummies.
So, I moved here and we just kept hanging out, in separate apartments, work and whatnot. After she graduated,
How many years you date before engagement?
3, 2 or 3.
Okay.
2 or 3.
How long did it take you all to get to the point of being monogamous? From the time that she actually, remembered that she had your number.
Well, from the beginning.
Okay, so as soon as she came back, y'all would like to get
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in a real relationship at that point. We went, like I said, that was my. Yeah,
okay, she was the one.
I felt like she was the one. Yeah, I really did. Yeah. Now, feeling like something and being mature enough to handle what you feel like you deserve, what was supposed to be, is two different things. You know what I'm saying?
Please break that down. That was
because I was young. I was dumb. I got in the car business and started making a pretty good amount of money for a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
And when you have money, sometimes it affords you the opportunities to do things that you probably shouldn't do.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? And so I started doing things.
Give us an example.
I started hanging. I'm not gonna go I go deep enough, but not too deep. Yeah, I started hanging out places I probably shouldn't have gone.
Okay.
Places that preacher definitely shouldn't be going to.
All right,
but I wouldn't go.
Preacher was out with me one time too.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go everywhere. I wouldn't go everywhere where the saints would go, though. You know what I'm saying? But I would go places where I thought I could hide, if that makes sense.
I understand.
And so sometimes hiding, you want to kind of keep a double.
You got a double life.
Yeah, you do. You know,
but I didn't really have a double life. I'm pretty much the same all the time. It is what it is. You get what you get. But I did go out one time, Cafe Circle, I think it was, and my pastor was down there having a glass of wine, and he was like, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? Not my current pastor. Let's keep that clear. This was decades and decades ago now. So I understand that.
And sometimes we're the effects of what we've been exposed to and what we've embraced.
What does that mean? Sir?
Okay, if you've not been exposed to a thing, then it's hard to embrace it. So if I've never gone to a club, how can I miss that club? Yeah. Because I haven't developed an appetite for those things.
Absolutely.
So as you start to go places that you have no business going, you develop an appetite for those things.
You better speak.
Then you keep trying to go towards those things. And as you go towards those things, your appetite becomes stronger, and it takes more to satisfy you at that point. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does.
But that doesn't, and honestly, and I know it sounds selfish, and I get it, but it really doesn't negate what you got going over here, because your love is still the same over here as well.
Understand.
You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to hope you can outlive. Oh God, you kind of hoping you can outlive this desire over here and get this
here and be 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so. You all together immediately as soon as you all decided that you were going to be talking. And then how long before you got married from that time of being together immediately?
It's probably 3 years.
Okay, you did say 3 years. Okay.
And then, but one of the mistakes we made, and it wasn't a mistake because he's 22 years old, but we had a child the first year.
Okay, the first year of being together, or the first year of getting married?
No, first year of getting married. Within our first year of marriage.
Okay, and why do you think that was a mistake?
Jawanza Kunjufu says that you should get married at 28. You should have 2 kids, and they should be 4 years apart. You know, I think a lot of times, Jawanza Kunjufu, he's a black psychologist. But one thing I think that a lot of other cultures do that we don't do, some of us don't do, not all of us, because I don't want to download it. We don't properly plan for children.
That's very true.
We just have sex and then, oh shoot, I'm pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
And we cope with it, and most of the time very well.
Yeah, and we cope very well, no doubt.
Yeah. But we can do things a little more strategically.
If we did it strategically,
then come out a little bit more on top, maybe.
And not only that, you know, even at dating is one thing, but marriage is another.
Absolutely. Did you live together before you got married?
No. Well, no. We had spurts where we lived together, but
what does that mean?
We had separate apartments.
Okay, but she was always at your house.
She'd come spend the night, or sometimes I would go. Well, she had a roommate, then of course I went to the night at her house. You know what I'm saying? So but not every night she stayed. Okay. No. We didn't move in until we got married. We didn't move in together. She didn't put her clothes in my closet until we got married.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about that? Do you feel that there is premise to getting to know each other better by staying with each other before marriage, or wait till after marriage?
I'm old school. I'm wait till after marriage, and plus plus being the introvert that I am. I like my space.
I get all of that.
Can you go home?
So I could just speak from experience. I'm old school as well, and prior to my last experience, I did not believe in shacking up, as we call it.
Yes.
And that just means living with the person of the opposite sex before you're actually married. However, in my experience with my ex, I would say that if I did not live with him beforehand, which I had never planned to do, but worked out that way, and it was beneficial in some ways for both of us. If I had not done that, then I think I would have gotten married and gotten divorced.
Really?
Immediately, because things were revealed in the house that weren't revealed before coming in the house. So, while I was very black and white on the no shacking, at this point I'm kind of gray. I'm like, pray on it.
So, you don't think those things would have been revealed if y'all didn't live together? You don't think you would have been at the house and cooking?
I was already doing all of that.
I'm saying, but
we dated for a year before I moved with him.
And you never noticed any of those things?
It was real clear in the house. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm less judgmental on the shackers now.
and I'm not judgmental because I got my own fingerprints. You know what I'm saying? So I do what works for one don't work for another. Me personally, I probably have the most frustrated life because I'm an introvert whose love language is touch.
Introvert with touch.
Yeah. So I mean, I want you to be here, but can you leave right quick? You know what I'm saying? So I don't.
The dynamics of that is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Really.
Okay, so we get married. Everything's good in the beginning. And how long would you say the greatness of the marriage lasts before you start drifting off into your other world?
I don't know. 'Cause when you say the greatness lasted, I mean, I know it sounds oxymoronic, but I never saw the greatness leaving.
You just had everything going on.
Yeah, I never saw the greatness. Everything was cool.
So how long did you, before you started the extra stuff you were doing that could have been detrimental to the marriage?
Oh, it was early.
What's early?
Within the first couple of years.
So after your child is born?
Oh, yeah. Not too long after the first child is born.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so why do you think that started with you? And were there any things on her end that triggered in it from your perspective?
Man, it's easy to play point the finger right and say what somebody else did wrong.
No, just talk about your perspective though.
Oh no, I get it.
I don't think there's ever anyone totally right or wrong.
Yeah. You know, I mean, they would get upset about me being at work all day, then I come home and then they're in the bed, cover pulled up over their heads, you know what I'm saying? And
were they depressed?
If they were, I didn't know.
Because I've been depressed before.
And the baby wasn't born much longer before then. So yeah, you very well could have been. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about that. But so early in a marriage, sometimes you don't know what signs to look for.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Did you do marriage counseling?
Yes, we did do some. Well, we did some, not the full.
What did you do?
we went through a magazine, the book together. We had a workbook we had to do that my pastor had us do together. We did a workbook.
And what would be considered full counseling that you didn't do?
Actually having someone go through the book with us.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it. We
so
did
you
it
kind of self-led it.
And a lot of people, because of being in ministry, they thought I knew certain, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting point.
Yeah, they thought I knew certain things. So yeah. So what was the question? What's next? What was I talking about?
And we were talking about triggers. Anything that she may have done to have triggered
I don't think she did. Yeah, like I said,
your behavior.
Well, here it is. Like I said, I'm coming home frustrated because I'm not there. I'm home. I'm like, well, I'm here now. Then next thing you know, you're asleep. I'm sitting on the couch by myself. I'm bored. I'm go out for a little while. And then that kind of became a pattern. I'm gonna go out for a little while. I'm gonna go out for a little while. And then when you're out, you start exposing yourself like the things that you shouldn't expose yourself to. And if you expose yourself to them things, then you can potentially take on those things. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I did, but I kept my life over here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I took care of home. I took care of my children.
I'm sure this is not the first time this story has been told.
Oh, I'm sure. No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
So you started doing these other things. What leads to divorce?
Oh, divorce don't come for 18, 19 years. We made it 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we made it 20 years. Man, we went through buying houses together, losing the house, buying cars together, losing things. Because I think at a certain point, and without going too far in depth, because I'm not, like I said, I have to consider other people when I do this interview. I made a mistake. And in making my mistake, Disco, I started walking on. I kind of created a new norm of life where I almost was so sunken in my mistake that I started walking on eggshells.
Yes.
And if I live a life where I'm walking on eggshells, I'm not living to my full potential. You feel what I'm saying? So I become a shell of myself. You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
And I'm depressed and hadn't been diagnosed with depression. I ain't going to counseling. I kind of.
So we're dealing with mental health issues at this time as well.
And I don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, I go through this period of isolation and I want to be alone. But good thing about being this introvert that's alone, I'm isolated, right? But they're right there. My kids are right in the house. So I can go outside and have this alone moment. But then I can walk right back in the house and deal with everybody else. So I'm thinking, okay, I made my mistake. I'll outlive my mistake. Eventually, we'll fix what's wrong here. Because I think, I often use the expression, every day I become a little more me. Okay. So I'll be more me tomorrow than I was yesterday. You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
So I feel like I'm growing up in this marriage. Because
and you were.
Yeah. And marriage is growth. And the question is, how do you manage the growth? When you plant roses and you purposely put them in a box because they grow so wild, right? So you put a box around them to control their growth. Same thing with marriage. It grows. And I think the mistake a lot of us make at the beginning of marriage is we look at somebody else that's 20 years into a marriage and expect our first year of marriage to be like their 20th year of marriage.
Absolutely.
But they forget the 19 years that it took to get to that 20th year of marriage, right? The way I would have quantified our marriage at that time was by the age of our son, because our son, he's 22 now. So at a certain point, it was, hell, we had to cook for him, we had to clean for him, we had to do all these things. But at a certain point, he could cook for himself. Right. At a certain point, he could get on the internet, he could do all these things. And that's where I thought our marriage was. But then when she called me upstairs one day and said, hey, James, I found a rental and me and the girls are moving out.
You didn't see it coming?
No.
Oh, because you were there present.
I'm there now.
Yeah.
I'm grown up.
Uh-huh.
I'm that guy now. I mean, the play is gone. I mean, yeah.
I want to go back. You said you thought you would outlive your mistake. Do you mind telling us what the mistake was?
When I say mistakes, I'm talking about going into that, into that little lifestyle I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you're in your 20th year, and she says, hey, got an apartment.
About 19, 20 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, she got a bigger house than the one we was living in. It wasn't no apartment, but go ahead.
I thought I heard you say apartment.
No. I said rental.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
So she moves on. And before we go to the moving on and divorce and stuff, tell me what was good in the relationship.
But man, I'm gonna use a quote again. We kind of got to a point, I believe, she might have a different opinion. I believe we got to a point where we started to function in our dysfunction.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I had the son. You know, I would take him to his baseball games. She had one of our daughters. She would take her to the softball games, and then we would meet at the house every night and do the family thing. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
y'all had a routine.
we had a routine. It was a dance, man. It was a nice rhythm. You know what I'm saying? And our kids make straight A's. You know what I'm saying? Our kids are going on and getting scholarships and going to college, and we got all of what I call the symptoms of success. You know what I'm saying? Now the substance might have been a whole different thing.
Okay.
But I'm thinking the substance is going to work itself out, because if this has worked, then this has to work.
Well, so you thought it was working.
That's why I said keyword. Yeah. Well, that did work, because, like I said, she's at University of Georgia. He's in grad school.
Yeah, but I'm saying
that part worked.
Marriage-wise, the catering to the kids wasn't sustaining the marriage.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And like I said, so I thought, because we were functioning in our dysfunction, that would be enough fruit to sustain the relationship.
Had you all had any discussions prior to the Found a Place discussion about separating? No. I remember sometime my daughter would tell me, we were out looking at houses today. I'm thinking she looking for houses for us. I didn't find that out till later, Jack. But man, she out looking for houses and stuff, man. That's hilarious.
It wasn't. It wasn't now. Yeah. But
well, I tell people all the time, and I was talking to a young man the other day when I was just in general talking to people about being on the show, getting this thing married. He's like, look, honestly, I'm in a situation right now where I'm cheating. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And matter of fact, I think she cheating too. He was like, I think she cheating with somebody in the medical field that did some service for me.
Oh, wow.
And then he was like, well, I'm cheating with the security guy. I said, well, she probably is, and your instincts are probably right.
Well, he's a little more transparent than I am. Right? He's been like, I ain't going to be that transparent. No, I'm just joking.
Right. I understand, but it happens.
It happens.
And he was claiming some physical touch that was missing from his life with his partner. But I'm like, if she has had experience in the past where you've done things that were not honorable to the relationship and violated the trust in the relationship, he's like, well, I know she will tell me, because she's told me before. If she's told you before, what makes you think she's going to keep telling you the same thing over and over again? And you treated her like she was ignorant and making up something and crazy. I said, she leveling up. She is planning her exit if she's going to exit. But in the meantime, she is leveling up. So y'all play down.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies play up.
Oh, no. Y'all leave long before you leave. Ain't no doubt about it.
I mean, nothing wrong with planning your exit.
No, yeah, you leave before you leave. Hey, don't be giving up. It said to death do us part. Let's learn how to be married and learn how to be good leaders.
We're supposed to be talking about getting this thing
let's learn how to be good.
But when somebody's disrespectful in the relationship repeatedly, nobody should. I don't advocate abuse. However, I don't know what your intentions and God's purpose is for you. So I don't, have any say so on any issues concerning marriage. Like, if you want to stay married after he or she does whatever, that's between y'all and God. Exactly. I have no input on it.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyhow, she moves, and then what happens?
She moves then, because we were renting a house at that time. We went back, so it made it easy. We didn't have a whole lot of assets to come back. But I ended up moving into my own apartment.
Okay.
It was, now that was, whew. I moved in my apartment. I don't remember the exact date, but if I moved in my apartment on Monday, I went to work on Sunday and got, I got moved in my apartment on Sunday. I went to work on Monday and got fired.
Boy, you were having a rough week.
Wow. Man, I went to work. I'm real talk.
Sorry.
You brought it up, so you want to talk? Hey,
that's kind of hard.
Look, this is a segue for me. I'm going to start my stuff too. So this
absolutely,
is good.
I'm going to give you a way to go ahead and plug it in then.
But yeah, so I move out of my apartment, move out of the house on Sunday, and then I go to work on Monday. And when I get to work Monday, they fire me, right? And then he fires me, and he's telling me why he's firing me, and I'm like, but look at the board. I'm leading the board. I'm selling more cars than anybody. You firing me, and I'm begging, right? And all of a sudden, the Holy Spirit came and spoke to me like me and you talking right now, and it said, "Shut up and leave." I said, "Huh?" He said, "Shut up and leave." So I got up, got in my little 2002 Honda Accord, and drove home and sat on the couch, depressed. I'm like, what am I gonna do now? And I ain't gonna lie, to an extent, I ended up sitting on that couch probably for about a year and a half or 2 years. Only time I would leave is when I got a phone call with somebody telling me to go to work. And whenever I would go to work, it would always be enough money.
So you had a depressed state for almost 2 years, 2.5 years?
Probably three and counting. Probably 3 and counting. I'm coming out of it now. Yeah.
Okay.
You see my little hashtag, what they say?
On the path to better.
Yeah, so I'm on my path to better right now.
And that's very transparent of you. There are many people who suffer with mental health issues and they go neglected. Yeah, depression is a mental health issue.
I'm like,
and I know because I was actually evaluated and diagnosed with severe depression when I was in my early 20s and had no idea that I was even depressed at all. So that's how far-fetched having any mental disorder is in the Black household.
Can we play right quick? Play? I want to have a mental health issue. But you know what? I get it. I would take the check if it paid enough money, but it don't. I can't
keep
get the
your
check.
job. You're functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, for real, I got stuck on that couch for a year.
And that's real.
I mean, we'll talk. I got friends like my boy Keith Wiggins. He'll call me and be like, man, I've been telling you to do this. Pack a bag. You're going to Alabama for a couple of days.
Okay.
Pack a bag. You're going to here for a couple of days. My boy Rodney called. Pack a bag. You're going to Arkansas.
So friends are important.
Yeah, they knew my skill set. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, a lot of them didn't know what I was going through.
Oh, okay.
They knew I wasn't working in the car business no more. They knew I had this background. They needed somebody to do this. And thankfully, the kind of things that we would do, typically the checks were big enough to at least pay a cycle of bills.
Yeah, and we're talking about all legal stuff, people.
Yeah,
this is a legit businessman.
No. I sell advertising to car dealerships and stuff like that. So check. I mean, back then it was good, but I was stuck. Now, and so going through that, more than anything, though, it helped me put up a mental mirror, if you will.
Okay.
And I got to look at myself in the mirror. I got to start documenting some of my behaviors. I kind of started looking at some of the pivotal mistakes that I made that would have or that did contribute to who she became. And I even got to a point. I even said, "Well, check it out. I would have left me too if I was her."
And that's being real.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Based on everything that had happened.
Based on what?
Based on the past. Now, based on the present, I thought I had become who I am. Because I remember telling her one time, I'm who you want me to be now. Why would you want me to go do that with somebody else?
Yeah, I know somebody living that right now.
Yeah, I'm like.
So that's all very real.
Yeah.
So, we got, did you say what was the good in the relationship?
The good was, we understood each other. She understood my vision as far as where I was going. She definitely was a compliment as far with the proper spelling with the E. She was definitely a compliment. She made a lot of what I did better. I could articulate my vision to her, but I'm so random. I would give her a vision, tell her to do this, and then go on to something else. She's like, no, hold on, finish this.
We got to finish.
And I'm like, well, we got it for later. She's like, no, don't have me doing this work for nothing. We need to finish this. I'm like, well, I got this over here too.
So how important is it to have a supportive woman?
Oh, it's super important. Yeah, it's super important because if you only got, Augustine usually says, God has made us for himself, and our hearts are restless until it finds its rest in him. It's like kind of like life is a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you got 998 pieces, but you need 2 more pieces. Yeah. You need God, and you need 1 more piece. And I think that person provides that piece. It provides the balance that you would possibly need. It provides the calm head. Because there were times that I would show out in public, and she'd be like,
not the good pastor.
I would fight about mine. In baseball, man, please, you got to fight for it. Because it ain't many of us in baseball.
That's true.
So I felt like they would take advantage of my son. I wasn't going to let that happen, So she'd be like, then we get in the car, don't do that.
Yeah.
But we didn't argue.
Okay.
In 20 years, we might have had 1 or 2 times where we raised our voices to each other. I don't think grown folks.
It sounds like a cordial
It was a very cordial relationship. It was very
amicable at this point still.
Oh, very amicable. Yeah, we get along.
So if you could have done anything differently, what would you have done?
Oh, I never would have stuck my head out that fence. I would have.
To start.
Yeah, just to start introducing yourself. If you got an infant baby and you have a baby, did you just let everybody play with it?
Not at all.
And you definitely didn't let nobody touch their hands.
Not at all.
And so a marriage in its infancy stage, you can't expose it to too much. Those are your growing together times. That's when you really, really get to know one another. You know what I'm saying? You learn each other's idiosyncrasies. You learn, if he leave his underwear, this or
So what do you say to the people who have to keep all of their millions of friends once they get married?
Ain't no millions of friends. At that particular point. At that point, I mean, when you get married, John Hagee gave the best example of marriage that I've ever heard. He said you take two very individual
and
potatoes.
that's a pastor for those who don't know.
Yeah, from San Antonio. He said you take two very individual potatoes, right? And you peel those potatoes and you put them in water. And then you boil the water. And as the water gets hot, it starts to soften the potatoes, right? Then when you pour the water off the potatoes, you start to beat the two potatoes, these two individual potatoes, you beat them, and then they become one. You can't tell the difference between one from the other.
Okay.
That's when marriage becomes successful. But we want to hang on to our individualities. And so much of it has been warped and distorted by orientation. You know, what my mama did. Was my mama married? Or was I raised in a 2-parent home? All those things subliminally affect our thinking. You know what I'm saying? When in marriage, and we don't even realize it because we're all products of orientation. Personally, I had my dad and my stepmom, since I was 7 years old. So
you had a 2-parent household?
Yeah, so I had a 2-parent household. So that's what I saw. I even saw when my stepmom left my dad once for about a year or so, and then they got back together.
How did that affect you when you saw them leave? I remember when my parents got divorced, I was about 8, and I was totally emotional internally.
Well, I was 16, so I didn't feel that. I loved it because I ain't gonna lie, I loved it because at that time my dad spent every night at her house. So me and my sister had a 4-bedroom house to ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Well, a 3-bedroom house to ourselves.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Because we were 16 and 17, 15, 17.
So you enjoying the freedom?
Yeah, we had a whole lot of freedom, and then they ended up getting back together, and they're still together to this day. You know what I'm saying?
That's wonderful. Yeah. And I believe that a lot of couples separate and join back together. They even get divorced and join back together.
It does. It happens.
And yeah, I think it's people are becoming more open to that option as they continue to try to date and realize there's nothing out there.
Man, and to look at dating in 2021.
What does it look like?
It makes me want to be single, to be honest with you, because I don't know, really, Willie Lynch said that it'll come a certain point. And please don't take this the wrong way, because I don't think this is a one size fits all situation.
Okay.
But he said at a certain point that the natures of males and females, black males and black females, will be reversed. And I see a lot of
it's going on.
Yeah, I see a lot of women that have taken on male mentality.
What is the male mentality that you see that they've taken on?
Just so aggressive. The meekness is gone. The lady, and of course I understand you got to be the head of a household, you know what I'm saying? But at a certain point, if a man operates in his capacity, then I don't think we should be challenging one.
What is the man's capacity?
Oh, he's a protector, provider, a priest, and he does what a man does.
Okay, so
that's the only thing I know.
From the opposite side, that's what you know. Yes, that's what I know as well. However, there are many people who have groomed women now to be in the opposite role. They want the woman to take care of them.
Can we quantify who the they is?
They is probably most of the black male population now, because that's what I get when I am interacting with black men now. They want the woman to be more present in the protecting, providing, and what's that
age? Priest.
It's all of them now.
You know what?
But from young to old, it's ridiculous.
But to me, the male that has been metamorphosized now compared to the male that used to be back in the day, it's a totally different man.
It is.
If you look at the last 25 years, I believe, and what new Jim Crow has done to our communities,
yes, it's definitely
and they've taken so many of the real men, because I think they said 2 million, the prison population increased by 2 million people in 20 years. So if 40% of those is black men, that's over 800,000. So if that's fathers, that's grandfathers.
They definitely annihilated that family.
And so now you don't have a real male to look at. I'm gonna give you an example.
That was intentional.
Yeah, and I was at Hampton Inn one night, and I was asking them could I park there. And these 2 young ladies came in. And when they came in, one of them said something, "Oh, nigga," this and called me the N-word. I'm like, "Whoa."
It was real strong.
I said, "Whoa, hold on, sweetheart." That's how I know you like that.
Right.
She said, "Oh, I'm sorry. How old are you?" I said, 48. I said, "What difference would it make?"
It does.
She said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." I said, "She said,
I have to correct people all the time as well." So, I do appreciate you coming on, James. This is James Kirkland. Please tell people how they can follow you and what you're working on, your projects that you have coming up.
Yeah, I'm working on my podcast. It will be called. It's coming out real soon. Disco and I were talking about something. Thank you, Disco. But we got something called. It's going to be called The Intellectual Stew.
Okay.
My name is James Kirkland, Kirklin, the second on Facebook. You can follow me there. You'll be able to follow me on YouTube at Kirkland, Kirklin, Creations with a K, KREATIONZ. That's going to be my YouTube channel. But all of these things will be coming here in the very, very near future. And I appreciate you for allowing me to come on and share my little few convictions today.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight. Absolutely. I know many guys who share the same viewpoints that you expressed, and I appreciate you for being a voice for some. We'll continue this discussion. We'll talk about getting and staying married once a month. You can follow me, Kathryn Yancey, on Facebook, Instagram, Miss KDY, mz.kdy, and also subscribe to Disco 100 Radio on YouTube. And we'll see you all next time. That'll be next Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Disco 100 Radio. This is KDY Live.